If you want to be able to hit these kinds of clips, oh my, and have streamers react like this.
Oh, this guy is cheating. He's cheating.
Damn.
Yeah, he's cheating. He's cheating.
Okay.
That's madness.
That's madness.
And this is the guide for you. Let's get into it. So this is going to be the first of many FPS related guides coming to the channel, where I take my 6+ years of professional Apex Legends experience, give you guys tips and tricks on how to improve aiming, positioning, ability utilization, and general knowledge of the game. I have tons of upcoming guides planned for Apex Legends and other shooters, so if you're interested to continue improving your game, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, let's work on improving your aim. So to start, if you've ever played a game before where you actually like your sensitivity, there is free tools that you can access online. These are the two websites that I think are best for that. All you have to do is input your game that you want to play and the game that you would like to convert to. So Apex Legends, and let's say your sense is like this, and CS2 is kind of 1-to-1. You can get a little bit more advanced if you want. This has endless amounts of games. So if you have any FPS related game that you've ever played and you want to convert it from, this site is a great place to start. Now, if you have no prior games where you actually liked your sensitivity and you're kind of starting from the ground up, the biggest thing I recommend is starting at a low sensitivity and working your way up. So for me personally, I'm currently sitting at 800 DPI and a 1.2 mouse sensitivity. I keep my ADS multiplier at 1, so that way it's always 1-to-1 ratio from my hipfire to my ADS. I find when I have a sensitivity variation between my ADS and my hipfire, I just have a lot of inconsistency. So I like to keep them kind of 1-to-1. So the reason I say you should keep your sensitivity low is because of something called micro adjustments. So your aim is never going to be 100% accurate every time. But the reason why lower sensitivity is good is something called micro adjustments. You can see, for example, when I go from here to here, you see how I'm slightly off here? Having a lower sense allows me to more naturally make that correction. Now, if I were to increase my sensitivity and try to go to that target, you can see I kind of over flick to make that adjustment, and it's not smooth, it doesn't look good, and I end up making more mistakes than original. Having a lower sensitivity is going to help make those micro adjustments a lot easier to do and way more consistent, which is key in improving aim. So the next thing we're going to talk about is your mouse grip. So the mouse grip that I prefer is more like a palm grip. So I like to have my entire hand be able to rest on the mouse, as well as my fingers about perfectly extend to the tips of the mouse itself. This allows me to have the most control of the mouse from the bottom all the way to the top. And I find when I have control of the mouse and feel like I have control of the entire mouse, it makes my aim more consistent. So to summarize, whatever allows you to have the most control and hand coverage of your mouse is what I recommend you do. So a mechanic in Apex Legends that I believe is very important to master is what you'll see actually a lot of pro and high level players do. So this is what the hipfire spray will look like. If I make no adjustments, that's how the hipfire spray looks. If I'm ADS'd, no control, a lot tighter, as you can see. It's kind of spam ADS while you're spraying, and it'll keep it relatively consistent like the perma ADS pattern. This essentially will allow you to maintain the strafe speed of un-ADS, but also maintaining accuracy close range. This is a very important mechanic to learn, as it'll help a lot of players keep their movement speed up and their strafe speed, which in turn will help them win a lot more fights in 1v1s. So one last time side by side for you guys. That's with recoil control. This is with the method. A lot better. So mastering that will help you a lot. So the next big tip that we're going to talk to you guys is something that I like to call the first shot principle. And the first shot principle essentially outlines the importance of having your crosshair lined up from the very start of the spray. So let's say I'm going to come up these stairs and I'm going to be fighting this guy here. If my adjustment on him as I start to shoot is off, it takes me more time to kill that person, also gives them an opportunity to do more damage to me. Compared to if I take a fight and my first shot is perfectly lined up on the target, you can see I can kill them way faster and way more decisively. In Apex Legends, there is a lot of constant movement from players and things around you. So if your first shot is going to be off the target, you might go to correct that aim, but in that time that you go to correct it, your opponent might strafe in a different direction, therefore throwing off your aim again. So you're constantly just playing catch up. That is why I stress the significance of having that consistent and precise aim is just as important as tracking, because it allows you to be able to adjust as it happens real time to their movement and not have to play catch up the whole time with your aim. For the next tip, we're going to be talking about recoil smoothing. And all recoil smoothing is aiming in the opposite direction in which you are moving. So if I am moving left, I have to aim right to stay on my target. So at the top of my spray, this is all vertical, right? You can see right here towards the end of the spray, and even here on the un-ADS version, the spray starts to go in a horizontal direction. So the reason why this is such key advice is because when you are doing your recoil smoothing and making those horizontal adjustments, the amount of change that you're doing in your mouse to adjust actually is more than the recoil pattern. Therefore, indirectly cancels out that horizontal natural spray that the gun does, thus making it feel like there's only just vertical recoil. So when I'm doing my recoil smoothing, you can't even tell that there's any vertical recoil whatsoever, because I am naturally compensating by that by doing the recoil smoothing. So I'd also like to make it clear that everything that we've talked about up until this point, you can practice and refine in the game itself. So one of the methods that helped me improve a lot with these types of things is actually jumping into the firing range with a friend and just doing 1v1s for 20-30 minutes at a time. 1v1ing your friend is just a method where you can be constantly exercising your aim and just getting fast repetitions in repeatedly. You can spend 20-30 minutes warming up on dummies if you want to with the strafes. Another method that I like to do if you want to practice precision aiming is actually using these target boards to your advantage. You can try to jump from target to target. So an example of this would be going like this. So that could be a method of just practicing having consistent adjustments with your aim. And you can expand that to more targets if you want to, and you can use this middle one as a center starting point. So you can do things like that to really help find your sensitivity and really refine that first shot principle that we talked about earlier. So one of the last bits of advice I have for you guys really looking to improve your aim is a question that I honestly get asked all the time in my Twitch streams, and that is stretch res. And before you check out, let me explain the actual benefits of using stretch res. The reason why you see almost all the pros and high-level players using stretch res is short and simple. It essentially makes the target bigger and wider. And if the target is bigger and wider, easy to consistently keep track of, aim, and hit your target. In my opinion, if you really want to min-max your aim, it's worth at least looking into. But I can completely empathize with and understand that stretch res not only makes your game look like shit, it is actually harder to see enemies clearly at range. And the last thing to note is that if you're going to try stretch res, it actually does slightly alter your mouse sensitivity. If you found a sensitivity that you liked before on a native resolution, it is going to have to be slightly adjusted on stretch res, as it will feel it's a lot faster than on native. So for those that are really looking to min-max and get a little bit more out of their aiming, stretch res is a great alternative to look into, as it makes your targets a lot bigger and therefore allows you to more consistently hit and track your targets, since they're technically bigger on your screen, yet your cursor stays the same size. So if you feel like you learned anything new or feel like any of these tips helped, please drop a like. And if you're new, consider subscribing. I have tons of FPS related guides planned for the future that I'm really excited about, because I want to take my experience and help you guys improve. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.